Hello and welcome. My name is Gemstone, and today we are back in the story of our life, beginning and always. Apologies for being a bit late, but thank you for your patience. And hello, Sky, welcome. How are you doing today? So we're gonna jump right back in. I'm not sure if it'll start from exactly where we left off, since that was kind of in the middle of a chapter, but we'll go ahead and see, and if we're starting from there, then I'll do a little bit of a recap. Ah, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm glad to hear you're good. Alrighty. So, Cove came over, kind of upset last night, because his mother and his father decided that she would come here to visit instead of him going there, so his parents will be in the same place for the first time in a while. He snuck through our window late at night, and we hung out, played cards, and then fell asleep at some point. And when we woke up, well, your muscles refused to move an inch, and your eyes widened as you stared at Cove's sleeping form in absolute shock. If your moms found out that he had slept here the entire night, you would both be in big, big trouble. Realizing quickly that you needed to get Cove out of here before your moms or Elizabeth walked in and found him, you willed your body to get a move on and swung your legs over the side of the bed. The cliffhanger indeed. We're gonna find out what happens. Now I believe they're 13 in this, so I mean you would hope that they wouldn't be assumed to be doing anything sketchy, but he did sneak in the window, so I guess you never know. Alright, do we want to whisper in his ear, shake his shoulder, poke him in the face, tug at his hair, throw a pillow? Not gonna throw a pillow, not gonna tug at his hair. Not gonna whisper in his ear, that feels creepy. I think gently shake his shoulder sounds good. After giving him a firm shake on the shoulder, Cove's eyes flew open and he woke with a start. You scrambled out of the way as he abruptly jumped to his feet before almost losing his balance and falling back down. He recovered just as quickly and faced you indignantly. What was that for? Shh! What? The situation dawned on him too, before he even finished the word. Cove blinked at you a couple of times, his eyes growing in panic as some thought that only he could hear settled in his mind. We just heard his, puberty voice crack. I fell asleep! You weren't exactly sure what to do, as you watched Cove pace your room, looking around frantically. Cove's hands flew to his face, letting out a sigh of relief when he found his glasses right where they were supposed to be. Despite that, he hadn't calmed down completely. The atmosphere was still frazzled. It's going to be alright. You just need to leave before anyone notices you're here. If they knew, we would have heard about it already. Cove nodded, his shoulders tensed as he fixed you with a firm stare with his turquoise eyes. Letting out a heavy sigh, he ran a hand through his hair in exasperation. He couldn't look at you again as he spoke. I'll see you later. You were confused by how all of this had played out, but hoped that was true. Right. Bye, Cove. At that, you were suddenly wrapped up in a tense embrace. As panicked as he was, this seemed to be something he couldn't forget before leaving. Thanks, again. You're a good friend, Gemstone. He firmly whispered the words into the top of your shoulder. Oh, that's so cute. But you were let go before you had a chance to respond, or even fully react. In a matter of seconds, he had climbed over your bed and opened the window. A cool breeze rolled off the ocean, fluttering through Cove's hair and filling your room with its salty scent. Friend, right? Yeah. He gently whispered into her shoulder. Cove fearlessly stepped out onto the ledge. You wished him luck. Good luck. Be super careful. You weren't sure if he heard you or not, But he kept going along, one foot in front of the other with increasing speed, until his form disappeared out of sight. Thunk. No, I'm kidding. You stuck your head out the window as far as it could go to try keeping watch. He walked the full length of the ledge before jumping down to the top of the garage, then lowering himself onto the fence. From there, he finally dropped down to the ground. Ha ha ha, now we know how to get out. You threw out a thumbs up at his successful climb. He ran off towards his house without stopping, disappearing behind the side of another building. You had to admit that you were pretty impressed at how doable he made that look. With a little sigh, you reclosed your window. Deciding there was nothing more you could do, you hopped off your bed and got ready to head downstairs for the day. You made your bed. It was a habit of yours. You straightened up your sheets, smoothed over your comforter, and fluffed your pillows before stepping back and admiring your work. You took the stairs, slowly attempting to mask your face into a look of innocence. You were sure that someone would have come into your room if they had heard anything strange, but you couldn't be too careful. You had to play it cool. When you stepped out into the living room, Elizabeth was there, tapping her finger on the counter. "Good morning, Elizabeth." She looked you over immediately, her eyes squinting at the grating. "Why are you being so weird?" You hadn't even done anything. Your big sister never missed a beat, unfortunately. You turned and offered a tight smile, and her lips pursed together even tighter. "Gemstone?" You shrugged it off. "I'm not." You spoke so nonchalantly You spoke so nonchalantly you almost thought she believed you. But you knew better. Further suspicious squinting occurred as she waited for something. But ultimately she rolled her eyes, and you weren't sure if you were in trouble or not. She didn't seem to care enough to dig any further. "Whatever." And then she walked straight out the front door, letting it slam shut behind her, and you let out a brief sigh. Elizabeth went out most days to hang out with her friends from school around town. Today you were extra glad for it, though you were also grateful she hadn't left the house any sooner and risked running into Cove. It looked like you were getting away with that. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. Your moms were both out by the time you had gotten up. They had left you a serving of food from the breakfast they made: hash browns, an omelet, fruit salad, and there were a few sausage links. Oh, that sounds so yummy. You took a little bit of everything. It was tasty. You appreciated that there was variety in the meals your moms made. The day lazily drifted by at home, and eventually your parents returned. You pulled open the fridge again, lingering in the frosty air for a moment or two, before grabbing a bottle of ice-cold water and taking a long drink. Hydration reminder. It was a perfect, balmy summer afternoon, and you had decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You hadn't decided what that something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. As you were heading out the front door, you paused for a moment. You hadn't seen Cove since he had left that morning, and you couldn't help but think about what happened to him. Would it be bad to go over to his house right now, or to call him to check in? You stepped out of your house, still stuck in an eternal debate with yourself, when a voice caught your attention. A woman? "Hi, Gemstone." Confused, you looked over to where an unrecognizable woman was waving at you, a friendly smile plastered on her face. You racked your memory from where you might have seen her before, but nothing came to mind. Not your school, or from the country club your mom took you to. You had absolutely no idea who the woman was. It's Cove's mom. The woman crossed the road towards you, and you were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back into the house and lock the door. Green hair. "Oops, I'm sorry. Was that presumptuous? I've heard about you, but you have no idea who I am, do you?" She's cute. Wow. He got his mama's eyes. And hair. Yes. You shook your head, and she removed her sunglasses to reveal sparkly ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little more familiar. My son lives here, and my ex too. With a bent smile, she lifted a hand to point at the condo across the street from your own house. She was Cove's mom. You didn't know why you hadn't realized sooner, now that you'd gotten a good look at her. She was super pretty. This beautiful lady was Cove's mother? Wow. No matter your thoughts on her, you still felt taken aback that she had appeared here so suddenly. Cove mentioned she was coming, but you hadn't got the impression it would be the very next day. Don't simp for your BF's mom, Jem. Yeah. I'm not. She's just cute. It's good character design. Cove's young mom. Anyway. She extended a hand again, this time for you to take, and you studied the manicured fingers in front of your face and the assortment of bracelets that dangled from her wrist. Kyra. Whoa. I'm Kyra Priest. You can call me Kyra. You shook her hand. You reached out and took her hand, and she took yours firmly, grinning wide. I'm Gemstone, but you already know that. Cove's mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Gemstone. Cove talked about you to his mom. He hadn't mentioned how he said things about you to her. Nice to meet you too. She smiled at you fondly, her eyes crinkling at the corners. The sound of a door opening and closing caught both of your attentions, and when you turned towards the sound, it was to find Cove exiting his house, his eyes skimming the ground. Considering just how tall he had grown, you kind of figured his mom also would have been tall, but she was much more on the short side, for an adult anyway. Cove's height must have come from his father. My baby! There you are. I thought you were going to keep me standing out here all day. You tried to catch Cove's eye as he walked towards you, but his gaze was firmly fixed on the sidewalk. When he finally crossed the road and looked up, he gave you a pitiful look. After the way he had acted last night, you knew he must be feeling pretty mixed up about this. You tried to wordlessly express that you understood. Cove and I are heading into town to grab something to eat while the snore is at work. Kyra beamed at Cove and ruffled his hair, which only seemed to upset him more. You assumed the snore she was talking about was Mr. Holden. Hey, you should come with us, Gemstone. I'd love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. There was a pleading in his tone that you couldn't miss. Of course, we'll run it by your parents first. Responsibility and all that. Ah, she's a free spirit. Any whoosies? It'll give me an excuse to meet them, which I need to do at some point. It's important to be neighborly if I'm going to be roosting on the street for the time being. Any whoosies, let's go. She's gonna, for the time being? How long is she staying here? Kyra walked ahead towards your house, and you hung back with Cove, who crinkled his nose as he watched her. We're not gonna mention that they're not home. I'm sorry about her, but I really do want you to come. I don't want it to be just the two of us. Not right now. Aw, he's shy. You leaned in closer and whispered, while checking around for anyone who might hear. What happened? Did your dad know you were gone? Cove shook his head and sighed heavily. Dad was so focused on Mom showing up that he didn't even notice. I thought when I heard them on the phone last night that it was something they were planning for the future. This morning Dad said it was supposed to be a surprise, and I guess I was surprised. She's gonna be here all summer. All summer? Just like living with her ex? Oof. Oh. You were surprised to hear that too. Cove sighed again, even heavier. I'll go with you if you really want me to. He smiled, his shoulders relaxing a little in relief. Thanks, that'd be cool. The two of you headed over to where Cove's mom had just knocked on your front door and stood behind her. I thought our parents were out. I guess they got home. Mom answered the door after a minute, her eyebrows lifting in surprise at the group she found in front of her. You realize that, like you, she would have no idea that it was Cove's mom who was hanging out with you. Oh, this is like kind of sheer. That's so pretty. However, after blinking at the woman a couple of times and looking between her and Cove, the realization seemed to strike on her. Hello there, I'm Pamela. Pamela? Did we know that? I think we might have. I see you've met my kid Gemstone, and I'm guessing you've already known Cove for a while. Kyra laughed, and you and Cove exchanged looks at your parents' weird sense of humor. I'm Kyra Priest, Cove's mom. It's so nice to meet you. A head of purple-brown hair caught your eye as Mom popped up behind Mom, squeezing herself in beside her. We have company. I was wondering what all the commotion was. She grinned excitedly at Kyra. The two of them introduced themselves and shook hands. Hi, Gemstone, Cove. Cove smiled at Ma shyly, and she gestured a hand towards the living room. There's no use hanging around the doorway. Why don't you come in? I'd love to, but I promised to take my son out to eat, and I wouldn't want to hold you up with a surprise visit. Cove grimaced and held back a groan. He likely took offense at how she didn't want to put them out with a surprise visit, but not him, apparently. Oh, I understand. You're welcome to stop by any time. I'll take you up on that offer when I can. Count on it. Would you mind too much if Gemstone went with Cove and I? My treat. We won't be driving, just a quick walk down the road. Hello, Potato. Welcome. Kyra, indeed. Sure, that sounds nice. I hope you all have fun. No problem at all. Welcome. I'm just glad you made it. What game were you lost in? You must have been having a great time. Heck yeah. You gave your moms a look, and they smiled at you fondly. Valheim. Oh, that sounds cool. You were happy they were letting you go. You could tell that Cove really needed the support, and you were ready to be there for him. Expect us back in an hour or two. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care. It's also multiplayer, which is neat. Ah, but how are you two? I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Oh, it's a Viking game. Yeah, I definitely kind of got that vibe from the name. Your parents waved goodbye to the three of you as you backed up onto the street. There was the sound of the front door closing behind you. I'm pretty positive I saw some restaurants when I was in the taxi, not too far from here. It's a tourist town, isn't it? There's a lot of them around. Kyra put her hands on her hips and smiled at her son. Well, you sound like the area expert. Do you have any recommendations for a place nearby? Yeah, it's a survival game, just farming and building is nice too. Heck yeah. Sounds calm and comfy. Not really. Kyra pouted at him a little and turned to you instead. How about you, Gemstone? Want to point me in the right direction? You nodded. It is, at least when you're not fighting massive trolls. Oh my goodness. Fair enough. You'd been to a lot of places in town. We've lived here all our lives. We should have been to everywhere. So you knew a couple of good ones. There's a Chinese restaurant that me and my family go to all the time. It's my mom's favorite. There's also a tropical themed place that tries to be sort of fancy. Both sound like a treat. I'll leave it to you to pick for us, since Cove is going through a phase over there. He huffed at her and turned his face away. Let's let Kyra decide. She's new here, we don't know what she likes. I've already tried both, so you should be the one who chooses. You're so polite. Alright, let's hit up the fancy tropical place. I'm intrigued. Plus, she's already dressed for the occasion. Will you show us the way? You nodded, taking the lead of your little group as Cove and his mom followed behind you. Together, the three of you left the neighborhood behind. Going through a phase, girl, you showed up unannounced. For the whole summer, yeah. Whoops. The walk was about 15 minutes, and along the way, Kyra asked a lot of questions about the area. Cove was quiet most of the time, so you ended up answering her instead. Oh, Jesse, wait. Oh my goodness. Kyra explained that she lived in a large city, and she loved how peaceful and relaxing everything seemed in Sunset Bird. The restaurant was busy as usual, but luckily you were shown right to a small table. There's so many plants! What a beautiful little place! Kyra lowered herself into the chair, while Cove picked the one diagonal to her, not facing her or to her side. It was awkward. Let's see. To start, what would you all like to drink? I'll get an orange soda. Gemstone? Same for me. Which flavor? Ooh. On a summer day? Probably lemon lime. Lemon lime, please. Sure. Kyra placed the order for your drinks, getting a black hot coffee for herself, and it didn't take long before they were brought to the table and set in front of you. You took a long sip of your drink as you looked around the restaurant. Your small group checked over the menus, deciding what to order. The last time you came here, the dish you ordered was amazing. You wanted to order something different this time. Kyra and Cove didn't need any encouragement for this. They were totally focused on the information in front of them. Soon the meals, too, were ordered and the menus taken away. You glanced at the table service, waiting to figure out what to say. Cove awkwardly sunk back further into his seat and crossed his arms, all while blatantly avoiding eye contact. The side wall must be real interesting to him right now. To be fair, it's kind of awkward for him, for both of us right now, because of what happened earlier and then his mom just showing up, so I feel bad for him. Wall. Yeah, indeed. Don't I know that feeling? His sour feelings today were unignorable. Instead of asking more open questions he'd brush off, Kyra had mercy on her son and instead put her focus towards you. Gemstone, what's a few things that you're into? There's gotta be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. Wow. Read, watch, play, hang out, go to the beach, into sports, music, art. Write things, spend time studying, fashion. I'm really into Cove. Yeah, how about we make this day even more awkward for him? I bet he'd become real interested in the floor all of a sudden. You know which choice I picked? I bet I do. I spend time on art. Having boys in my bed. No. Oh man. Oh, you guys. You can pick more than one option? Oh, okay. Is that what the white is for? I spend time on art. Ah. No. It'll just put you back. Ah, okay. So if you like more than one thing. Cool. That's really neat. I create digitally. Oh, I guess I could have said and. I'll talk about this. My computer at home doesn't really have all the programs I need. Oh, now I can pick it. And I go to the beach and walk along the shore. That's a nice way to relax. I hope to be able to spend some time on the shore while I'm here myself. I mean, yeah, if you came from a big city and now you're near the ocean, why would you not? Heck yeah. And look for seashells? I keep the best ones I can find for my collection. I'm sure it's an incredible collection. And I like to read manga. When I was younger, it was fiction novels. Fiction novels? Me too. Nothing beats curling up with a good book. Heck yeah, she's so cool. And should we? Should we do it? What do you think? I don't want to make him more uncomfortable. Do it. Do it. I'm not safe coming. Why do you ask? And I'm really into Cove. Join the making Cove embarrassed side. Kyra let out a sudden laugh, and Cove gasped beside you. It was a dramatic enough inhale that he almost choked on the soda. Oh no. You shrugged at the reaction. It was a truthful answer to the question. Gemstone! Cove whispered at you disapprovingly, obscuring part of his face with a hand. But Kyra only waved him off and encouraged you to go on. We spend time together when we can. I like it. Well, we have something in common. Kyra smiled at Cove, who didn't look too impressed by either of you at that moment. I mean, we do like hanging out. It just makes sense. Plus, I'm not very socially aware, so I probably would have said something like that when I was younger. And that's it. I'm happy to learn more about you. There's so much I hadn't heard. Cove leaves the details out. So what exactly did Cove say about me? He said you're so beautiful and so fun to hang out with, and he wants to be friends for the rest of your lives. Quote, air quotes, friends. Kyra laughed, holding a hand up in front of her mouth. And then he wants to, like, smash faces and ride off into a sunset. Oh my goodness. I can't tell you that. I didn't come all this way to embarrass my son. Too much. Kids are delicate at this age. She laughed again, and you glanced at Cove to see his reaction. He cringed, looking very much like he would rather be anywhere but here. Hoping it would clear some of the tension in the air, you decided to ask Kyra a few questions of your own. Cove hadn't told you much about her, and you were curious to know more about this woman who was such a big part of his life. What exactly do you do for work? I'm a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop on what's worth seeing. It's good work. Wow. Are you here for that? She's like here to write an article and just happens to have picked this one. Wow, those are heavy questions. Yikes. We're gonna not ask those. What do you like to do? Spend time with my little boy, of course. And traveling. A real shock, huh? She just writes an article about her little son's romance. Where do you live normally? Nevada. Have you ever been there? You shook your head. It's a beautiful place. Check it out if you can. We are not asking either of those questions. It didn't seem to bother her that the conversation dropped off. Cove sipped his soda angrily, slurping up the remaining drink with furrowed brows. He looked ready to run straight out of the restaurant. Save scum, do it. Just kidding. But the lore. Nah. Maybe I'll play through it again and be like a little brat. Just ask everything wrong. You weren't sure if coming along had ended up making the lunch better or worse. Yes. Made a silly face, smiled, gave him a sympathetic look, flicked a straw wrapper at him, left him alone. Probably a sympathetic look, like, I'm sorry. Cove eventually noticed you watching him, and you gave him a look to let him know you were there for him. It was subtle, but you swore you could see the hint of a smile tilting the corner of his lips. Aww. You two seem really cute together. Cove covered his face with his hands and leaned back in his seat. Mom, why would you say that? Thanks, we are cute. He blushed. The way she said that embarrassed you. You weren't prepared to have Cove's own mother describe the normal interactions the two of you had as cute. Your meals were delivered shortly after that, and everything was so delicious. Even Cove enjoyed his food. Alright, now that we're all full and content, can you explain, please, why you've had a bug on your butt all day? What kind of saying is that? Okay, then. Cove's face instantly returned to its scrunched form. Seriously, baby, what did Mom do to make you this mad? I haven't even been around a full day yet. Normal interactions like sharing a bed. Hey, she doesn't know about that. He gripped the edge of the table, refusing to make eye contact. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. You could have told me. Totally platonic, indeed. She leaned forward to not miss anything else, eyebrows raised. Told you what? He finally seemed to find his voice and spoke the thoughts that had been on his mind. And they were roommates. And they were best friends. That I wasn't going to visit you this year. That you were going to be coming here instead. Didn't you invite me? You wanted me here with you? Cove's eyes began to shake, and his frustration ebbed. I do want you to be around, but I didn't know it'd be like this. It's not the same, and nobody said anything. Now you see, the plot thickens. Her expression grew tense. She threaded her fingers together and placed her hands in front of her on the table. Oh. Neither of them knew that's what that meant. Is he trying to get back with her? We've both been gifted another Clifford surprise. Referring to that as a Clifford surprise almost caused both you and Cove to crack a smile. No, Ocean Papa just isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay, the fact that he tried to pay me money to hang out with his son, kind of, yeah, I get that a little bit. You also had no idea his name wasn't just Cliff. Over 5 years, nobody had ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed her hair out, not letting go of her stern look. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They let out identical sighs, but smiled weakly at one another afterwards. I can go home, Cove. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends. Cove's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option. He cares, yeah. I think I do want you to stay. I miss it when you're not there. My heart. She reached across the gap, grabbed his face, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried to wiggle away. Mom, stop. I'm sorry. Sweet young men need to be smooched by their parents. If I don't, they'll take away my mom license. Kyra was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness did return to her voice when the conversation continued. Do you want to talk about your dad too? Oh, that was aggressive. Cove had snapped the word instantly, but reeled his annoyance back just as quickly. Maybe later. Not today. We can shelve it. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for talking to me, little mister. She grinned affectionately at him before turning your way. And thank you, Gemstone. Huh? What did I do? It's easy to act like a baby with your mom. It's harder to keep that up with your neighbor watching everything. Especially when you really care about what said neighbor thinks about you. She winked. Mom! She just ruffled his hair with a laugh, then moved her hand down to tap the end of his nose. And that was how the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. When the three of you left the restaurant and Kyra had paid the bill, you walked back to your neighborhood slowly. You had eaten so much by that time you were beginning to feel sleepy. It didn't help that the lunch had happened late, and the sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. A late lunch? By summer sunset? The sun sets at like 10 or 11 p.m. in the summer. Where are these people? But eventually you reached your street. Someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Whoa, curly hair! They're in Cali? What time is the sunset in Cali? He's got curly hair! Welcome back, family! And Gemstone too! Cliff. Dad. Oh no! Also might disappear, sorry about that. Storming right now. Ah. Well, have a safe and cozy time. And if you happen to go, I know that it was just thunder and you definitely weren't kidnapped. So thank you for the warning. The two walked past him into the condo without sparing another word. Despite the summer heat, their shoulders were cold. Yeah, thunder just struck me. I became a super potato. Oh no, they already had so much power. Now, their power level is unbelievable. They're going to break the world. It's those creepers. Oh no. It's over 2. Power levels are ranked by very small decimals. Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh my goodness, I just rubbed the back of my neck to try and make that sound like more embarrassed. He rubbed the back of his neck with a crooked smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. And with this cupcake, I can reach a level beyond. Ooh, you got a cupcake? What flavor? He's so much like his mom, don't you think? You gave a vague nod, not sure what he was expecting you to do. He nodded back, far more energetically. I can become the potato of legend and super spud. Also, I got a chocolate-flavored cupcake. Heck yeah, that's gonna increase your power level to at least 2.3. Okay, have a nice night, Gemstone. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cove's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. At least 5! The land of gods is mine, all shall fear. Summer hadn't started off at all how you imagined it would have, though it turned out to set the tone well. Oh no. Having Kyra in the neighborhood was a new experience for not only you and Cove, but also both your families. and a dull moment was rarely had. Wahaha! And I'm gonna remember to save after each one this time, so that I'm not silly. Alright. Okay. If family is awkward, I want to do it first, but if it's when they're more comfortable, I kind of want to do it later on. Like, is there a specific order for these at all? Because I want the story to make sense. There's no order? Alright. It did say it sets the tone for the rest of the summer, so I'm assuming they'll all be a little awkward. I'll just say do road trip last. Alright. Will do. Because it has a very cute moment. Alright. We'll probably discover that next week then. And also, family could be very, very awkward. I'll probably start with that one then. That's what I kind of figured. But the thing is, when you told Cove about the 20 when he was a kid, you lost that chance. Ah. I'm glad I didn't tell him then. Alrighty. Wait, you didn't? Well then. Yippee! Yeah, I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Family drama. Oh no, he finds out. Alright. So before we continue, I do just want to take a quick moment. I have done a little something, and I should have done this at the beginning, but I wanted to wait for some reason, and now that you're both here, I recently had a birthday, and I decided that for my birthday present to myself, I would do a little bit of a stream upgrade. So, if you all direct your attention to Gemstone for just a moment. As we all know, birthdays mean getting older. And that means changing a little bit in your appearance. So for my birthday, since this model was made back in 2022 January, that's over a year and a half ago, is Gem gonna be gray-haired and arched? I'm not that old, despite what everyone keeps saying. So anyway, I decided it was time for an upgrade. They got a little old cane. Yeah, instead of a drawing pencil, it's just a cane instead, Grandma Gem. Now I want to make a version of that. But anyway, I decided to give myself a little bit of a glow up. So, drum roll please. Ta-da! Thank you, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I wanted to make the hair work a little bit better. Obviously my drawing skills have upgraded a little bit. So yeah, I just decided it was time for a little bit of a makeover. Still waiting for old lady Gem. This is awesome. Indeed, thank you. I might make a version of that. Maybe I'll make like a Halloween version, because for this one, I wanted to give myself a bit more of like ability to swap things around. So I actually did make the base like body, and then the hair and clothes are separate so I can change them out. So we'll see. She's like Leatherface, got an old lady face on there. I'm simping politely already. Well, thank you. But yeah, I felt like it was time for an upgrade, and my birthday came around, so I was like, sure, why not? I'll treat myself. I'm simping very unpolitely. No. It's all good. But yeah, so I just decided it was time for a bit of an upgrade since my skills have improved, so here we are. A little more mature proportions, a little more closer to reality and less, like, bulbous, I suppose. But yeah. So, hopefully you guys like it. And we will now continue on. Art Gem hit puberty too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, kind of. Got that Gemmy growth spurt? Yeah. Yeah, recently has kind of been like a period of art growth. There's been a couple like anomaly pieces that I'm like, eee, but most of all, pretty good, pretty good. But anyway, thanks for the stream. Heck yeah. We're not quite done yet. We're gonna try and play through maybe one or two of these. I do have work today, so I may have to leave a little bit early, but I just wanted to take a quick break and show this off. Alrighty, so road trip last, so family first. We'll maybe do like family, way of growing, dinner, road trip. That seems like a good order. So let's get into it. Ooh, such a pretty color. I like this color right here. It's aqua. Wait, stream's continuing? Yeah, that was just a little break. Just a new model show off before we continue with the story. Because I'm posting the video about it next week, so I have to show it off on stream first. Yeah, I kind of meant to do it last week, but then I forgot at the beginning, and then it got laid in, and I was like, well, I don't know. I'm boogling like a rat right now. We get that exclusive reveal. Heck yeah, of course. That live stream, live update. But yeah, I hope you like it. I'll like make sure the sizing is right and everything. This is what we get for being OGs, Sky. Dap me up. The sun warmed your skin from its place in the sky, and you closed your eyes, enjoying the mix of the heat with the pleasant breeze that drifted past you. You and Lee had spread out a blanket on top of one of the hills behind your house, and had been relaxing there for a while now. Lee had come over earlier in the day, and while a range of activities had been discussed, from staying home to heading down to the beach, a picnic on the hill had been the choice you both settled on. A small spread was laid out in front of you. Some bottled water, soft drinks, as well as chips and sliced fruit. Ooh, snack picnic. You sat up and reached for a snack, listening to Lee talk away about the music she had gotten to see a few days ago. The musical she had gotten to see. I kind of forgot who Lee was for a minute, but now I know. They're so silly. Lee is your cousin, yeah. She's the silly one. It was unbelievable. There was singing, dancing, and crazy stunts. And it was all done live right in front of my face. I did pick family, yeah. This isn't the family one. So sorry, but might have gotten it confused with dinner. That's fine. That's okay. It'll be we'll get to the awkwardness later then. We'll have some nice reprieve from the last moment before the next one. This one's just wholesome family stuff. Heck yeah. Maybe one day we could go together. I gotta see more shows like that. You smiled at Lisa's enthusiasm, knowing how much she enjoyed singing and performing. And she was good at it too. You had gotten the chance to hear her sing a couple of tunes, and you knew she put a lot of effort into it. I can't wait for channel points so I can bonk the gem. Oh. You also like to sing, and have a talent of your own. It was nice the two of you could share that interest. I wonder if maybe we could put on our own show? Think of how fun it'd be. We could perform for our parents and ask our friends and some other people to come and watch too. It'd totally work. That's some extrovert stuff right there. I don't know about that. The idea gave you stage fright. But wouldn't showing off to everybody be fun? The thought of an audience made you feel queasy. Not really. You have so many skills you could show off to the masses. Okay, when I was around 13, would I have done this? It's possible. I was a little bit more of a performer when I was younger, but now I really don't want to. Sorry. Your cousin seemed a little disappointed, but she nodded and respected your wishes all the same. The two of you lay back on the blanket and lazed in the sun, throwing ideas back and forth on what you could fill your time with. The gem lore. The beach was nearby, so you could go swimming or collect shells, or find something to do back at home after all. In the end, nothing was tempting enough to move you from your current position, so you continued chatting with Lee and nibbling on your snacks while the sun traveled in the sky overhead. So, how are your neighbors doing? You haven't spoken about them recently. You knew Lee wasn't talking about neighbors generally, or down the street. She wanted to hear about the Holdens across the road. It was no secret that she liked to keep up to date on what was happening with them. Or more specifically, Cove. There weren't many other people your age around to talk about. I feel like they're okay, because things are a little awkward for them right now. Whoops. Right? Maybe. Just gonna... There we go. There we go. That's a bit better. I hope to find out soon. Ooh, do you have plans? Not exactly, but I see them around here all the time. Leah loved to chat about others' relationships, and would always ask you for the details on people you both knew. Hey, do you want to see if Cove would join the picnic? Girls, stay away from my man. Yeah, I don't know if she's like a wing girl or like a also interested. He's busy this afternoon. Yesterday he said he and his parents were going out. They might be fishing on the docks by his dad's store. Oh, that's too bad. I bet he'll have a great time with his mom and dad, though. Wait, no, Lee's not like that. Good to know. Wing woman. The sun slowly began to set, the sky turning a rosy pink and then warm orange. It's too bad Derek isn't in the neighborhood today. I like him. Yeah, he's a good person. I knew you'd think so. So, exactly how much do you like him? Or maybe there's someone else that I haven't heard of yet? Leah wriggled her eyebrows at you suggestively, and you knew exactly what she was implying. If you picked crush in the feeling screen in the start, she would always talk to you about Cove and how much you two did stuff. It's like you two were a little rom-com. Fair enough. I can't answer that. Lee's eyes sparkled in an instant, like she'd just hit the jackpot. Oh no, she knows. Who is it? That's funny. He can pick his parents. Kyra, she's just so hot, you know? I'm not giving you a name. For real. Yeah. Tell me something else about them then. This news was just too exciting. She wasn't going to be deterred. You weren't surprised when Lee started squeezing you for more details, and you answered as much as you were comfortable with. The two of you talked about your preferences and who you liked and stuff. You found that it was nice having someone to speak with about these sorts of things. Finally, you both decided to pack everything up and head back home for the evening. Uh-oh. Why does everybody look upset? Upon walking through the front door, you were met by your moms and Elizabeth hovering around each other in the living room. They Angie. Oh no. Tension hung thick in the air as the three of them turned to you and Lee, frowning slightly. You had interrupted something. Exactly what, you weren't sure. Well, only one is Angie. Yeah, they look concerned. Not that one. Hello? Hi, Gemstone. Hello, Lee. Welcome back. The room fell quiet again, but with no one quite knowing what to say. With no one quite knowing what to say, you felt incredibly awkward, but the silence didn't last long. Oh, does Elizabeth have a boyfriend or something? You don't have to stop just because those two are here. There's no reason to try keeping it a secret. Uh-oh. Are we moving or something? Elizabeth was mad, with her arms folded defensively over her chest. But your mom's nodded in agreement with her. Oh. Elizabeth was asking about her parents. Her biological ones. The world spun around you at the news. You couldn't understand. Why was this happening now? When you glanced at Lee, she shuffled her feet uncomfortably, as though she didn't know if she should be there or not anymore. You didn't know either. Yeah, well, F is right. Your moms had always been open and honest about the fact that neither of them had given birth to you or your sister, but the details hadn't been fully explained before. It made sense that Elizabeth didn't know a lot about her biological parents and wanted to know more. You just hadn't ever thought you'd accidentally stumble into it. Elizabeth looked at your parents expectantly. She wasn't going to let the unintentional interruption derail things. We don't want to keep that information from either of you. It's your right to know your past. But we did want to wait until you asked us to hear yourselves. Well, it's happening now, so... Your mom shared a nervous glance, and Ma took a quick breath before speaking again. Oh no, what are we gonna find out? I adopted you from the Philippines when you were just a baby. Elizabeth dropped her arms, her eyebrows shooting upwards in surprise. Wait, I wasn't born here? You weren't. You could clearly see that your sister was appalled by this information. You struggled even more with what to do or how to react. Am I gonna have to pass some test to even be a citizen? No. You were adopted in the country. We took care of things. You're already a citizen. You have nothing to worry about. I followed all the laws when it came to bringing a child into the U.S. Nothing can be held against you. Elizabeth sighed, placated with the information, but still far from happy. Who were my parents, as people? Why did they put me up for adoption in the first place? Ma softly put her hands over Elizabeth's shoulder, trying to provide some support before she gave her the answer. They're dead. I'm so sorry, sweetie. Your parents were reported to have died. They didn't go into the details on the specifics of how, but you were an orphan. Your mama dead, your dad dead, your grandparents double dead. Oh my gosh, potato, no. Oh no. I wish we had better news for you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was torn between emotions, her eyes filled with tears as she threw her hands in the air, settling on enraged. Great, so now I can never meet them, even if I wanted to. Not that I could have anyway, since they lived in another part of the world when they were still alive. Elizabeth turned her back on you and your moms and stormed off, her sprinting up the stairs into her room before anyone could stop her. Orphan tears. Oh no. I have to go and talk to her. Ma immediately started to follow her, but Mom gently held her by the arm and shook her head. Sip, no! Potato! Don't sip the orphan tears. We should give her a little space to process it all. Your ma's head hung low, but she stopped walking. With Elizabeth now gone, the two of them seemed to remember you and Lee were still standing awkwardly off to the side. It's a song reference, okay, good. I'm sorry you had to see all that. It's not how I expected it would have happened when the time came. But since it's the topic of the day, Gemstone, is there anything you'd like to ask? Still would try some more potato. I feel like that would decrease your power level. You'd be back down to 1.6. You deserve to know, after all. No, even stronger. Feed on the weak. Lee patted your back and gave you a supportive look. The like dissonance between the story and chat right now is like whiplash. Be fueled by their despair. Oh no. Ruining the moment. No, it's all good. Oh man. You couldn't even answer. Your parents took that as a no. That's perfectly fine.
I understand.
You can always ask later if you ever change your mind. These orphan tears are about to make me trip. Is that part of the song? I have never heard this song before. You smiled at them gratefully. It was nice to know they wanted to be open with you about the topic, even if it wasn't a talk that you wanted to have now. I can put it in the Discord if you want. Sure, maybe I'll check that out later. No one seemed to have any words after that. They might have some, like, private stuff to discuss now. I feel like they should have their time. I am not gonna bother Elizabeth right now. Well, maybe I should just check in, and then if she tells me to leave, I'll just go. You were worried about Elizabeth. Even though she had been so angry when talking to your moms about everything, you could see she was clearly sad. You headed over to the stairs and up to her room. I don't think it's a good idea to ask Lee to go with us for this. Well, she is our cousin, actually. She's not a friend, she's family, so. Nah, I feel like I should leave her behind for just a minute. I don't know. It would be best to speak to Elizabeth alone. There is more chance of her opening up to you in that way. Waiting in front of your sister's door, you raised a hand to knock on it. There was no answer for a good minute or two, and when you jiggled the handle, you found it was locked. Oh, she ran away. Raising your hand again, you knocked louder this time, thinking she must have her headphones on and so couldn't hear you. When she didn't answer the door a second time, it was clear to you that she either still couldn't hear, or was just straight up ignoring you. It hurt to be shut out, especially right now. Maybe we should get out of the house. We'll take Lee back to the beach or something. I'm gonna go out just for a little while. I'll be back before it's really late. Your mom's nodded in understanding, trusting you to make the best call for yourself. Are we not gonna take Lee with us? We're just leaving her there? Yikes. Without knowing where you really wanted to go, you began to walk down the street quietly, dragging your feet. You turned and kept walking, unsure of what else to do. Everyone else had been so upset, and you didn't have the first idea on how you could help. Eventually, you found yourself at the beach, your feet sinking into the soft sand while you looked out over the ocean. You took off your shoes and paced the sand over to the water's edge, letting the cool ocean swirl around your bare feet. It was comforting being there, with the ocean breeze rustling your gold hair and the smell of salty water filling your nostrils. Eventually, you took a seat down on the ground, watching the sun as it dipped down further and further towards the horizon, before it disappeared completely. The sky shifted from blue and pink to orange, and then the deep blue of night. A sudden shout drew your attention away from the sea. Someone was calling your name. Your head snapped to the source of the yells. At the edge of the beach, where grass met the sand, was a silhouette in the darkness. But the person was still unmistakable to you. It was Cove. What was he doing here? His eyes settled on you ahead. Realizing you were in fact there, he rushed down to the shore where you sat. You could tell he was out of breath when he approached. You rose to meet him. Lizzie's gone. Cove, did something happen? Oh. No. Not to me, anyway. I wanted to know what happened to you. Look at his pretty face. Ah! I went to your house to say hi, but your parents said you were gone. That you needed to get away. I mean, I had to think something was going on after something like that. So I came to find you. Aww. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here. Cove's forehead furrowed in concern at your words. Can you explain everything to me? You nodded softly before taking in a heavy breath and launching into the story. Cove sat quietly and listened attentively, nodding every now and then, or taking in a sharp inhale. It took a long time for you to relay the details. Dozens of stars were pinpointed in the sky as the night wore on. Silence settled between you as Cove sat quietly for a moment, contemplating everything you had said. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet, drifting through the night towards you. Gemstone, I'm sorry about what's happening. With Elizabeth, your parents, your family, everything. He stopped suddenly, and you got the impression he was struggling to find more to say. You know, Elizabeth and I haven't ever been super close, but I don't think she'd want her family to break up or drift apart. Even if she complains about it sometimes. He smiled at you a little, and you could tell he was trying to be comforting. And your moms definitely don't. It doesn't matter if you're not blood related. You're definitely family. I can see that, and I hope you can too. Thank you, Cove. His words had made you feel better, and you knew it was true. You loved your family. Elizabeth cared about it too. She was just hurt. Hey. The sudden voice of your sister behind you made you jump. You saw her standing a little way away. She walked closer, and you didn't quite know what to do, or what she was planning on saying. Would you mind going? I want to talk to just Gemstone. You can come back. It's not going to be forever or anything. Cove seemed equal parts concerned and skeptical. Leaving now wasn't a concept that thrilled him. You nodded your head in agreement. If she wanted to talk to you in private, it was obviously about something important. Yeah, I mean, you think? You waited until the two of you were alone before fixing her with an inquisitive look. Elizabeth folded her arms, looking you over. Did Moms tell you about your parents too? I didn't want to know. Elizabeth nodded in understanding, her face solemn. Why did you want to talk to me? I went to see you and you didn't even answer. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow at the news. I didn't hear anything. Shutting everything out with loud music was very typical of your sister. You didn't feel much less confused, though. Why did you stop doing that, then? She shook her head as though the answer should be obvious. Oh. I was worried about you. I was the one who brought it up, but I made you deal with whatever was left when I was gone. She sighed, glancing upward for a moment before settling on you once more. See, she gets better, yeah. Indeed. I wanted to ask you what happened without everyone breathing down our necks. You were quietly surprised by her admission. She stuck her nose up a little at that, but her smile was soft. I'm okay, Elizabeth. It didn't upset me. How are you allowed to be that mature? Read this in a grumpy grandma voice. She's just a nasty brat, and she's so mean and stinky, and I think she'll be like that the whole game. Okay, I was wrong. To be fair, I didn't know how multi-dimensional these characters would be. You're already become the granny, oh no. Run away. Good, you darn kids, get off my property. The lightning spirits in her were quickly gone as she slipped back into a scowl. Oh no. You have to be born in the US to become president. What? You had never heard that dream of hers before. She noticed your bafflement and continued. I get I was never going to be president, but it just feels weird, having stuff taken away, not even getting a chance at it. I don't like having to know that when I was born I was going to have a completely different life. It's so different I can't even think about what it'd look like in my head. I could have spoken another language, lived away from everything I've ever seen here, and had someone else as my sibling. And then my parents died, and I was adopted, and the life I got became a totally new thing forever. I can't go back to what it was, even if I wanted to. A heaviness settled between you and the person who became your sister. You knew exactly how she felt. It was a confusing feeling, to have lived one way for as long as you can remember, but not having it be what was originally yours. Elizabeth watched you seriously. She was still trying to make sense of this to you, and herself. I don't know why today was the day. Nothing came up to make me ask the question. It was just something I've had in my head for a while. When it was just me and Mom's in the living room, I just kind of said it, finally. And there you go. Yawn, sorry. She shifted from one foot to another, relaxing her stance just a bit. She also spoke more gently. Learning about them and what happened doesn't change how I feel about our family, Gemstone. She smirked, fixing you with sharp eyes. I'd already figured out a long time ago that Moms weren't our biological parents. That wasn't news. You kept listening? Nothing about the family I was first born in would have made me decide that this wasn't my family anymore. If you had hoped you'd be free of my big sisterly status, don't think you're so lucky. She bumped her shoulder against yours playfully, her lips tilted at the corners. You hugged her. It took a few seconds, but she gave you a quick squeeze in return. You'll always be my family, too. Chuckling, she seemed pleased with how the conversation had gone in the end. Ready to head back home? It's been a long day. You gave her a nod. You too. Let's go. You walked home together in a comfortable silence down the well-worn street. The familiarity of it all felt nice. When you stepped through the door, you found your moms quietly sitting together at the kitchen table. Their heads snapped up, and they got to their feet to meet you, Ma giving you a careful smile. We're so glad to see you. I'm sorry for walking away before. That's all right, sweetheart. We're just happy to have you here again. Ma then came over and wrapped her arms around you and Elizabeth, giving you a tight hug. It didn't take long for Mom to join in, putting her arms around the both of you. We really couldn't have asked for better, kiddos. We love you. More than we could ever say. Moms. You're smooshing me. You were so glad your moms were alright. I love you too. You let them hug you for as long as they needed, and it was a nice moment shared between you. Smoosh faces with Cove. No! We're having a tender family moment. They both pulled back eventually and grinned at the two of you, and you knew then that you all had each other, and you always would. Hey, I hope you're all right. Lee came up towards you, a soft smile plastered on her face. Goblin potato noises. And are you okay, Elizabeth? Elizabeth rolled her eyes and huffed a breath, and you knew she wasn't used to showing her vulnerable side. Lee nodded, though you could tell she didn't quite believe her. Well now, since we're all here, how about we do something together as a family? That sounds like an excellent idea. We should have some fun before the night's over. I love the sound of that. Yeah, okay. Why not? You hid the smile that threatened to tilt your lips, knowing that Elizabeth must have been in a good mood if she hadn't even teased Cove for being part of it. And no matter what she could have said about it, you wanted him to be there. The two of you had practically grown up together over the past 5 years. Who's got a suggestion? It should be something we can do here in the house, with everyone in the same room. We could just put on a movie. That would be wonderful. It's good to me. Yeah. You were happy with watching a movie. I'll cook up some popcorn. The rest of you can pick a movie. Your mom headed off to the kitchen, and Ma turned to face the rest of you. What do we have in mind? Everyone else can decide. I'll watch anything. Anything but drama. We don't need more of that today. There were some chuckles at her joke, and you thought about what you would prefer to watch. Oh. No. Yes, no. Family friendly. Cool. Perfect. With the basics settled, Ma took to sorting through the DVD collection. You didn't notice that Elizabeth was sidling up to you until she was right next to you, arm to arm. You said no like the talking dog Ben? I don't know who the talking dog Ben is. I mean that in a good way. I am completely fine with being compared to a talking dog. In the good way. You didn't... Oh. Next to you, arm to arm. Since there's only so much room on the couch, I say it should go to Gemstone and I. This is our day. Wait, I want to sit with you too. I'm small. You won't even notice I'm there. Elizabeth raised a skeptical eyebrow, not so sure about that. Ma stood back up with a DVD in her hand and a smirk on her face. I want to sit with the cool kids too. Surely there's room for one more, right? It might be a tight fit, but we can make it work. Cove, smoosh next to me. You could tell that Ma was teasing, and Elizabeth rolled her eyes at where this was going. She had expected an easy victory. No smash faces, no! Family friendly! Family friendly movie! Family friendly evening! I bet you want to sit here too, huh, Cove? Ma tapped Cove on the shoulder with the DVD case. He laughed awkwardly at her teasing. I don't need to sit on the couch. I'm a floor troll. I always sit on the floor. There's a couch available, I'm sitting on the floor. Chair, floor. Floor life. It's family friendly if it's just kissing. I don't need to sit on the couch. I can sit anywhere. It doesn't matter to me. Mom came back with a big bowl of fresh popcorn, and you inhaled the smell of the hot, salted snack. Mood, but you're a stair troll. Only sit on stairs. Heck yeah. Stairs are also pretty good. What's the skinny? We all want to sit with Elizabeth and Gemstone, but there's not enough room on the couch. Ma took that answer in stride and pursed her lips thoughtfully. That's definitely a problem. I suppose there's only one solution. Elizabeth and Gemstone will have to sit on the floor in front of the couch. That way there's spots behind them and on the floor at their sides. Inhale the salted popcorn. Curvy.
Yes.
Oh yes, that's fair. What? No, the whole point was us getting the couch to ourselves.
Sorry.
That's the cost of popularity. Elizabeth groaned and crossed her arms over her chest in annoyance. Fine. Gemstone, you're with me in front. The rest of you can fend for yourselves. There was a mad dash as Mom and Lee raced to the couch behind you and Elizabeth, and Ma put the DVD in the player before joining them. Cove took a seat at your other side on the floor, giving you a small smile. Everyone soon quieted down, and the only sounds to be heard were of hands scooping up popcorn and munching it down as the movie began. At that moment, you couldn't have been more pleased to be part of the family you had. Oh. Gonna save after each one. Alright. Well, I think, unfortunately, that's gonna have to be all for today, just because I don't think we have time to get through a full another one before I have to be gone, unfortunately. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for hanging out. You're welcome for the stream. Salted popcorn is good though, but you know what's even better? Ketchup popcorn. Not like drizzling ketchup on popcorn, that's disgusting, but ketchup flavoring. Oh yeah. What? Like the flavoring packets where it's like powder, or cheese popcorn as well. Psychic damage. Ketchup Lay's, exactly. It's like ketchup Lay's, but popcorn version. It's so good. Also, ketchup chips are my favorite flavor of chips. Some more Gemstone lore. But yes, thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this. This game is so cute. The story is so fun. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me. What are you Americans doing? You put ranch with fries. Alright. Well, I will let this debate continue, I suppose. You can also move it to the Discord if you would like. But that's gonna be it for today, so thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. Farewell.